right. Hi, some of you may know who I am. I'm Rick Rosen. I'm the artistic director and founder of Cordis Mundi. And these wonderful gentlemen that you're looking at here are the brand new two newest members of Cordis Mundi. And I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Zack Devine, is that my left or my right? I forget which. And then at the bottom, but taking up the entire bottom of our screen, is Joshua Myers. All right. Um, so, folks, we've you probably know this as well. We've had some changes in Cordis Mundi, and we brought in some new, and you might even notice younger singers. And as you might imagine, it has had some influence on what we do at Cordis Mundi. So let's take a couple minutes and Joshua, why don't you tell us about who you are and how we come to find you?
Of course. Hi there. My name is Joshua. I am a 23-year-old tenor from Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, a current graduate student of uh, Temple University, pursuing a degree in classical voice performance. And I was fortunate enough to come in contact with the lovely Rick Rosen over here just by circumstance. Found him on Facebook and linked up, went up to Salisbury to have an audition, and everything just seemed to fall into place.
Yeah, I would call that, I would say that's quite accurate. Yeah. Um, well, I want to draw you out a little more. One of the things that when we first talked that appealed to me was that you have what shall we say, aspirations to countertenor? Would that be an accurate way?
that's that's true. Yes. One of my goals in the pursuit of my degree is to develop a little bit further my skills as a falsettist. Um, I have I've pretty much, I mean, I guess ever since puberty, I retained the sort of soprano range in my head voice in a full and robust way that was not very common in my peers in good old high school choir. So it's one of those things I've been carrying with me as a musician that I believe is a really valuable asset to my music making and is one of the things I would love to explore while working with Cordis Mundi.
Amen. And I agree. And friends of Cordis Mundi, you may recognize that that's an option that we've never had in all of our 17 years. And so it does, in fact, open up potentially some new avenues for us. So then who's this other guy here? What's your name, Zack? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I am Zach Devine. I have known Rick for a few years. We have an interesting way that we met through me being an audio engineer at a music studio where Rick was having an album for a project mixed and mastered, and that ended up being me. So, a very eventful and adventurous way for us to come to know each other. We had a lot of fun during those sessions, and I saw randomly on Facebook that you were looking for new members for Cordis, and I, like Joshua, have always been, I've always sang and I've always had a very wide range. Actually, low range being my weak point. Never really, never really could get down to those low points. I've always jokingly said I'm still waiting to sound like a man. So, but yeah, I've never actually been part of a formal choir, so I've always been a lead vocalist in every project I've ever been in. I have been a lead singer for progressive rock bands, anything I've sang anything and everything. Jazz is really the my passion.
Yeah,
Um,
your degrees, please. Your degrees are in.
Yeah, I have a bachelor's in guitar, and my master's is in jazz studies.
So let me interrupt there and insert there, friends of Cordis Mundi. Um, One of the operative words there might be guitar. And again, that, as you see, we in this last season or two, we've touched on that in Cordis Mundi. Um, that might be something for you to be listening for as well. Go on, Zach, please go on.
Yeah, I love the idea of being able to incorporate guitar into a choral setting. Guitar is my primary instrument, and started off that way. So even above voice, I've always been what would consider to be a guitar player first. But anybody who's heard me sing knows that I'm very passionate about singing and love to sing. So doing both at the same time is typically what I'm always doing.
Excellent. We should also share with them that where Zach and I first encountered each other, as he said, was on this project, but I basically knew him from the back of his head, pretty much only because, of course, I was sitting behind him, growling instructions and grumbling and mumbling. When he first contacted me about Cordis, my first question to him was, or my first statement was, I didn't know that you could sing, right? Because all I knew was the back of his head.
I'm
Well,
good at pushing buttons, moving sliders.
well, you certainly put up with a lot of grief in those sessions. So bless your heart. Um, Talk to me about, like, both of you, about favorite kinds of music. Jump in, talk to me.
Josh, you take it away.
um,
They're both very.
I would say, what was that, Rick?
I said you're both very polite.
I would say some of my favorite kinds of music. I'm a big fan of the opera. I quite love. I'm an opera buff, dare I say it. With a particular fondness for Offenbach. I also quite a big fan of Renaissance music as well. I've done a lot of Gesualdo, Gibbons, Casulana. Um, and I just find the sort of pre-functional harmony approach to music writing very just engaging and fascinating. Big fan of contemporary classical music as well, particularly post-minimalism. Love that.
Brother Zach.
Yes. Uh, Interestingly enough, I love classical music, but I've always been more geared towards well, jazz as of late. For the past several years, I've really I started playing jazz. Ironically enough, not too distant past. I started playing jazz in like 2016, 2017, and it really kind of was spawned out of playing, in rock bands and things like that for so long, but always, I feel kind of silly that I never clued into my own mind, I guess you could say. I always played in rock bands and loved playing hard rock and all that, but anytime I was listening to music, I never really wanted to listen to the music that I was playing, and I was like, oh well, I'm just picky and eclectic, I guess. And next thing you know, I started playing jazz, and I was like, no, I just am not really a rock musician anymore. So, I've always loved listening to classical music, and even going back to turn of the century ragtime and 20s and 30s swing, Bessie Smith and Robert Johnson, Louis Armstrong, and then into Charlie Parker and Miles and Coltrane, and Wayne Shorter remains to this day one of my favorite artists. So I've really kind of immersed myself in the whole jazz world. I was actually very very fortunate. I was able to study with Gary Burton at Berklee College of Music. Um,
Really?
yeah, so that's my that's my 1 degree of separation from Chick Corea, as I like to say. So, but yeah, to have Gary Burton go, yeah, man, your playing sounds great. Just keep up the good work. Like that was a okay, I'm doing something right kind of a thing. So, but
Zach,
yeah,
do you know the Bill Frisell piece, Chick? that he
Uh,
wrote right after.
I have heard it. Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
I'll send you that. We'll do that. Chord
Okay.
actually we did that. We had the guy. We did an arrangement. We had the guy sing it. Actually, we had I played guitar and Jim Peters played keyboard. We played through it, and then we had the chorus guy sing it a cappella. All
That's
right,
all.
I'll send you because man, yeah, we oh neat. We can do that. We can do that. So that leads me to, interestingly enough, as if I planned it, um, Friends of Cordis. You may notice that there has not been a concert this fall. That's because we're kind of experimenting and exploring and looking at material for these next couple months, um, and finding out what the new version of Cordis sounds like and what will be our best repertoire. Um, so with that in mind, what we've been doing is we've been meeting every Monday and just kind of reading through stuff. Um, what do you think so far, guys? Zach, start that one.
Yeah, I love the material.
Complimentary. It doesn't have to be all complimentary.
No, I love the material so far. It's definitely, I love that there's an eclectic mix. I'll be careful and not give out any spoilers, but there's some old, very, what you would expect, typical, choir music that's just fun and just really enjoyable to just make sound good. And then I love that we've worked our way into a couple of like the barbershop quartet type stuff and a little bit more, um, not modern as in modern day, but modern in comparison to some of the older, more traditional stuff that we're doing. And I'm really excited to submit some things to committee for consideration. So that's another big thing that I'm looking forward to as soon as I have time to do that and the ability to sit down without being disturbed for a few hours.
Well, Joshua, what do you think so far?
Um, so far, it's been a really refreshing experience to be working in a smaller choir again. The last few choirs I've been in have been fairly large groups, so it's been nice to rediscover that sort of intimacy in music making again. Um, I will say, I will say that the rep is a lot of fun. It branches. As Zach was already talking about. It's quite broad in the uh, times they were composed, lots of different genres, a lot of different time periods. And what I find most exciting is, as Zach also already alluded to, is the prospect of doing music written by members of the group. And hopefully, if I also find the time to sit down for a few hours uninterrupted, hopefully I'll also have something to submit to the committee for their perusal, if you will.
And that warms my artistic director founder heart. That's that's what we want here. All right, so we're close to wrapping this up. Is there anything either of you want to add to this before I close it out here? Anything you'd like to say?
Excited to make music with you guys.
Absolutely. So, folks, the plan at this point is that the next Cordis concert will be on Sunday, March 24th of next year, 2024, at Trinity Episcopal Church at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And that will be well, this is actually the official debut of the new Cordis, but as a singing group, that will be well, no, we have a surprise for you between now and then as well. Look for us on our Facebook page sometime around Christmas. But having said all of that, our first concert will be March 24th, 2024, and we look forward to seeing you there. I think we've done it, guys.